The Dustfall Saloon had witnessed every breed of violence in its 23 years. Shootings, stabbings, brawls that left men crippled. Card games that ended in blood. But what transpired on that sweltering August evening in 1883 became the legend that old-timers would recount for half a century. The night an arrogant outlaw learned that some men should never be tested. No matter how old they appear, his name was Hastian Black Wind, 81 years old. Long silver hair braided down his back. Face carved with deep lines like canyon walls, hands gnarled but still powerful. He sat alone in the darkest corner of the saloon, a bottle of whiskey before him, silent as stone. Most folks in Dustfall knew him only as the old Navajo who kept to himself, who traded furs and herbs, who bothered no one. Harmless, they thought. Just another relic from the old days, waiting to die. That assumption was their first mistake. Vance Crusher Maddox was 32 years old, stood 6'4", weighed 260 pounds of solid muscle and cruelty. He had terrorized Dustfall for 8 months now, running protection rackets, stealing livestock, beating anyone who looked at him wrong. The law was scared. The mayor was bought. Good people locked their doors when they heard his boots on the boardwalk. Crusher Maddox did whatever he wanted, to whomever he wanted, whenever he wanted, tonight. He wanted entertainment. The saloon was crowded for a Thursday. Miners freshly paid, cowboys between drives, gamblers working the tables. The air hung thick with tobacco smoke, sweat, and tension that always preceded trouble. Crusher stood at the bar, drunk but still dangerous, eyes scanning for opportunity. For weakness. For fun, he spotted Black Wind in the corner. The old Navajo sat perfectly still, eyes half closed, seemingly unaware of the world around him. A clay cup of whiskey sat untouched before him. He wore simple clothes, buckskin shirt, dark trousers, moccasins worn smooth. No gun visible. No knife, no threat. Just an old man taking up space, breathing air that belonged to stronger, younger, more relevant men, perfect target. Crusher grabbed a whiskey bottle from the bar. Full and heavy, glass thick enough to crack skulls. He pushed through the crowd, boots thundering on wooden planks, announcing his approach like war drums. Conversations died. Card games paused. Everyone knew what was coming. Everyone had seen this before. Some new victim about to learn the price of existing in Crusher Maddox's world. "You," Crusher's voice boomed across the room. "Old Indian. That's my table. Get up, move." Now Black Wind didn't respond. Didn't open his eyes. Didn't acknowledge the threat. Just sat there, breathing slowly, hands resting flat on the table, calm, unmoved. Like Crusher was nothing but wind, the insult hit harder than any punch. "You deaf, old man?" Crusher approached closer, bottle raised. "I said that's my table. Been my table for months. Everyone knows it. You're new, so I'll give you one chance. Stand up, walk away. Apologize for the disrespect. Do it now." Black Wind finally opened his eyes. Dark eyes black as midnight, deep as canyon shadows. They fixed on Crusher with such intensity that for just a moment, for just a heartbeat, the big outlaw felt something he hadn't felt in years. Fear, then it passed. Crushed down by pride, by alcohol, by 8 months of unchallenged dominance. This was just an old Indian. Probably half senile. Definitely harmless. The fear was imaginary, foolish, weakness. "Table is taken," Black Wind said quietly. His voice was like stones grinding together. Ancient, hard, final. "Many empty tables. Sit somewhere else. Leave me in peace," the saloon gasped. Not loudly, just a collective intake of breath. No one talked to Crusher like that. No one refused him. No one dared. Crusher's face went red. Veins bulged in his neck. The bottle shook in his grip. "Wrong answer, old man. Dead wrong. You just made the worst mistake of your worthless life. He raised the bottle high, brought it down with all his strength, aimed at the old Navajo's skull. Full force. Full commitment. Enough power to shatter bone, to kill, to destroy. The bottle came down like a hammer, glass exploded, whiskey sprayed everywhere, amber liquid catching lamplight, sparkling like deadly rain. The sound was tremendous, echoing off walls, silencing every other noise. Shards flew in all directions. The impact should have killed Black Wind, should have cracked his skull open, should have ended everything right there. But the old Navajo just sat there, didn't fall, didn't slump, didn't cry out, didn't even flinch. Whiskey dripped from his long silver hair. Glass fragments caught in the strands, glittering. Blood should have been flowing. Brains should have been exposed. Death should have arrived. Instead, Black Wind slowly turned his head, looked up at Crusher, and grinned. It wasn't a friendly grin. Wasn't amused. It was the grin of a wolf that's just been given permission to hunt. The grin of a warrior who's been waiting decades for one more fight. The grin of death recognizing an old friend. "Now me boy," Black Wind said softly. Then he moved. The old Navajo exploded from his chair faster than anyone thought possible. No hesitation. No wind-up. Just instant violence, refined by 60 years of warfare, perfected by countless battles, muscle memory that age couldn't erase. His fist drove upward, caught Crusher square in the throat. Perfect placement. Perfect angle. Perfect force. Crusher's eyes bulged. Air cut off. He staggered backward, gasping, choking, hands flying to his crushed windpipe. The bottle fell from his grip, shattered on the floor. He tried to breathe. Couldn't. Tried to speak. Couldn't. Just horrible wheezing. Desperate struggling. Black Wind wasn't finished. His knee came up, slammed into Crusher's gut. The big outlaw doubled over, still gasping, still dying for air. Black Wind's elbow came down, caught the back of Crusher's skull. The outlaw went down hard, face first into the wooden floor, unconscious before he landed. Blood pooled beneath his shattered nose. 4 seconds. That's how long it took. 4 seconds to destroy a man who'd terrorized an entire town for 8 months. 4 seconds to prove that size means nothing. That youth means nothing. That reputation means nothing when facing true skill, true experience, true warrior spirit. The saloon remained frozen in shock. Black Wind calmly reached down, plucked glass shards from his hair, flicked them away. He touched his scalp, examining his fingers. A little blood, minor cut, nothing serious. The bottle had hit him full force and done almost nothing. His skull was like iron, his tolerance for pain beyond human. He looked around the room, made eye contact with every person there. His gaze was cold, measuring, assessing threats. "Anyone else have complaint about where I sit?" Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. They just stared at this old Navajo who'd just done the impossible. Who'd taken a bottle to the head and stood up grinning. Who destroyed Crusher Maddox in 4 seconds. Who stood there calm as stone, like he'd done nothing more remarkable than swat a fly. "Good," Black Wind said. He walked back to his table, sat down, poured himself fresh whiskey from a new bottle the bartender hurriedly provided. He sipped slowly, savoring it, like nothing had happened. Like the unconscious bleeding man on the floor didn't exist. The bartender, a man named Eli Goodwin, finally found his voice, shaky, uncertain, terrified. "Mr. Black Wind, sir, who are you really? That wasn't normal. That wasn't possible. Crusher Maddox has beaten men to death. Killed 6 men in fights. Nobody stands up to him. Nobody wins. But you just destroyed him like he was nothing. Like he was a child. How?" Black Wind sipped his whiskey, didn't look up. "I am old man who wants to drink in peace. That too much to ask in this town? But you took a bottle to the head. Should have killed you. Should have at least knocked you out. But you just sat there. Then stood up. Then smiled. Then destroyed him. That's not normal old man behavior. That's something else. Something dangerous. Being old does not mean being weak, Black Wind replied quietly. Being quiet does not mean being harmless. Your friend there assumed. Assumptions kill. He learned, painfully. Others should learn from his mistake. Without needing their own pain, a young man stepped forward from the crowd. Maybe 20 years old, sandy hair, earnest face. Name was Luke Henderson, worked at the general store, decent kid. He'd been watching everything, processing, understanding something important. You're not just an old Navajo trader, are you? You're something else. Something from the old days. Before the reservations. Before the treaties. You're from when the Navajo fought. When they raided. When they were warriors. Aren't you? Black Wind finally looked up, those dark eyes fixing on Luke. For a long moment, he said nothing, just studied the young man, measuring him, deciding something. Then he spoke, voice even quieter than before. There was time long ago when I was different person. Different name. Different life. That time ended. That person died. Left is only old man who trades furs and wants peace. Nothing more. Nothing less. But the skills didn't die, Luke pressed. The training didn't die. The warrior didn't die. He just retired. Just went quiet. Just waited. Until someone forced him to remember. To be what he was. What he still is. Black Wind's expression didn't change. But something flickered in his eyes. Recognition. Respect. This young man understood. Saw the truth. Couldn't be fooled by the disguise of age and peaceful retirement. Smart boy. Dangerous thing, being smart. Seeing too much. Knowing too much. Gets people killed sometimes. You should learn to see less. Know less, live longer. I don't want to see less, Luke said firmly. I want to learn. Want to understand. Want to know how an old man can do what you just did. Want to know how to be strong like that. How to be unafraid like that. How to be you. You do not want to be me, Black Wind said. And for the first time, there was something in his voice besides coldness. Something like sadness. Like regret. Like the weight of too many years, too many fights, too many ghosts. You want to be strong. That is good. But being strong like me means paying prices you cannot imagine. Means living with memories that never fade. Means being alone, always alone, because everyone you knew is dead and you are still here. Still breathing. Still fighting. Still unable to die. That is curse, not blessing. Choose different path. Gentler path. Happier path. Before Luke could respond, Crusher groaned. The big outlaw was waking up. Consciousness returning, pain arriving with it. His face was a mask of blood. His nose clearly broken. His throat bruised, swollen, damaged. He would hurt for weeks. Would speak in whispers for days. Would remember this night forever. He tried to sit up, failed, fell back down. Tried again. Managed to get to hands and knees. Blood dripped from his face, pooled on the floor. He looked up, eyes unfocused, searching, finding Black Wind sitting calmly at the corner table. You, Crusher whispered, voice destroyed, barely audible. You're dead, dead. My brothers will kill you. My gang will kill you. Everyone I know will kill you. You're dead, old man. Dead. Black Wind sipped his whiskey, unmoved. Your brothers are welcome to try. Your gang is welcome to try. Everyone you know is welcome to try. But trying and succeeding are different things. Your friend there is smart. He gestured to Luke. He understands. You do not. You think numbers matter. Think youth matters. Think weapons matter. They do not. What matters is this, he tapped his temple. And this, he tapped his chest over his heart. Mind and spirit. Body is just tool. Tools break. Tools age. Tools fail. But mind and spirit, if strong, if trained, if tested by decades of survival, those never age. Those never weaken. Those are eternal. You have strong body. Weak everything else. That is why you lost. That is why you will always lose. Against me. Against anyone who was more than muscles and meanness. Crusher tried to respond, couldn't. Just coughed blood. 2 of his men, lackeys who'd watched everything, finally found courage to approach. They grabbed him under the arms, hauled him up, started dragging him toward the door. He was too hurt to walk, too proud to cry, too angry to accept defeat. This isn't over. One of the lackeys called back, voice shaking. Crusher has 3 brothers. All meaner than him. All better fighters. They'll come. They'll make you pay. They'll make this whole town pay for not stopping you. You just started war, old man. War you can't win. Black Wind didn't respond, just watched them go, expression unreadable. The saloon door slammed shut. Silence filled the room again, but different silence now. Not shock, understanding, fear. Everyone had just witnessed something impossible, something legendary, something that changed everything. Eli the bartender leaned over the bar, voice low. He's right, you know. Crusher has 3 brothers. Wade, Flint, and Gannon Maddox. All professional gunfighters. All killers. Combined, they've killed maybe 40 men. They'll come here. They'll come for you. They'll bring hell with them. What will you do? Black Wind finished his whiskey, set the cup down gently. Same thing I did tonight. Survive. Same thing I have done for 81 years. Survive. Same thing. I will do until I do not. Survive. That is all. That is everything. That is what warriors do. We survive. While others panic, while others run, while others die, we survive. It is gift, it is curse. It is what I am. He stood up slowly, joints creaking, age showing now that violence had passed. He was just an old man again, tired, worn, ready for sleep. The warrior had retreated back into hiding, back into the disguise of harmless elder. But now everyone knew. Now everyone had seen. The mask was cracked, the truth revealed. How much for bottle and damages? Black Wind asked Eli. No charge, sir. No charge at all. You just did this town a favor. First person to stand up to Crusher. First person to hurt him. First person to show he's not invincible. That's worth more than whiskey and broken glass. That's worth everything. Black Wind nodded once, turned toward the door. Wait, Luke called out. Can I walk with you? Talk with you? Learn from you, please? The old Navajo paused, considered, then gestured for the young man to follow. They walked out into the New Mexico night together. Old warrior and young student, past and future, violence and hope. Behind them, the saloon erupted into excited conversation. The story already growing, already becoming legend. By morning, everyone in Dustfall would know. By next week, everyone in the territory would hear. The old Navajo who took a bottle to the head and grinned. The old warrior who destroyed Crusher Maddox in 4 seconds. The legend called Black Wind. Outside, the desert air was cool. Stars brilliant overhead. Coyotes singing in the distance. Luke walked beside Black Wind, trying to match the old man's steady pace. Finally, he spoke. Where did you learn to fight like that? Was it with your tribe? With the Navajo warriors? Black Wind was silent for a long time, boots crunching on dusty street. Then he spoke, voice distant, remembering. I was born in Canyon de Chelly, 1802. Learned to fight before I could read. Learned to kill before I understood death. Rode with war parties at 14. Led them at 20. Fought Mexicans, Utes, Comanches, Americans. Fought anyone who threatened dying, our people. Fought for 40 years. Killed more men than I can count. Watched more friends die than I can remember. What happened? Why did you stop? Bosque Redondo happened. The Long Walk happened. Kit Carson happened. Our orchards burned, our sheep slaughtered, our people starved into surrender. We marched 300 miles to prison camp. Thousands died on the walk. Thousands more died in the camp. I survived like always. But something broke inside. Realized fighting could not save us. Could not change what was coming. So when we returned home in 1868, I put down weapons. Became traitor. Became nobody. Tried to forget warrior I had been. But you couldn't forget, Luke said softly. No, skills like that, memories like that, they live in your bones, in your muscles, in your dreams. Cannot be forgotten. Cannot be erased. Just buried, waiting. Tonight they surfaced. Tomorrow they will bury again. But deeper each time becomes harder. They reached the small adobe house where Black Wind lived, at the edge of town, near the desert. He stopped, turned to face Luke. You want to learn from me. I understand. Youth always wants what age has. But listen carefully. True strength is not defeating enemies. True strength is having power to destroy, but choosing not to. Having skill to kill, but choosing mercy. Having rage inside, but showing peace outside. That is warrior wisdom. That is what I can teach you, if you truly want to learn. Luke nodded eagerly. I do. I want to learn everything. Please, then come tomorrow at dawn. We will begin. But know this, young Luke Henderson. Path of warrior is not glory. Is not honor. Is loneliness. Is watching everyone you love die while you survive. Is carrying weight of every life you take. Is never sleeping peacefully again. Still want this? Yes, Luke said without hesitation. Black Wind studied him, then nodded once. Then we will see if you have strength, not just of body, but of spirit. Many start this path. Few finish. Most break. We will discover which you are. Luke smiled, bowed slightly, turned to go. Luke, Black Wind called. The young man stopped, looked back. Tonight, Crusher's brothers will hear what happened. Tomorrow, or next day, they will come. When they do, you should not be near me. Should not be associated with me. Your life will be safer that way. I'm not running, Luke said firmly. If they come, I'll stand with you. You will die with me, you mean. They are not like Crusher. They are professionals, killers. 3 against 1, even I may not survive. You have no chance. Then teach me quickly, Luke grinned. We have 1 day, maybe 2. Make it count, Black Wind almost smiled, almost. Brave and foolish. That combination either makes legends or fills graves early. We will see which for you. Now go, get rest. Tomorrow will be hard. Luke left, disappearing into the darkness. Black Wind stood alone, looking up at the stars. The same stars he'd looked at as young warrior, as middle-aged survivor, as old man trying to disappear. The stars never changed. Never aged. Never died. Unlike men. Unlike warriors. Unlike everyone he'd ever known, he touched his scalp where the bottle had hit. The cut was minor, already clotting. In his youth, he wouldn't have felt it at all. Now age made even small wounds noticeable. How much longer could he do this? How many more fights did he have left? The body was failing, slowly but inevitably. One day, speed would be too slow. Strength would be too weak. Reflex would be too late. And on that day, Some young fool like Crusher would succeed where dozens had failed, but not tonight. Tonight he had won. Tonight, the old warrior had reminded Dustfall, had reminded himself that Black Wind still lived, still fought, still refused to die quietly. He entered his small house, lit a single candle, sat on his bed. From beneath it, he pulled an old wooden box, opened it carefully. Inside were items from his past. War club, worn smooth from use. Eagle feathers from his first raid. Silver Conco belt from a Mexican officer he'd killed. Turquoise necklace his wife had made before she died of smallpox in Bosque Redondo. Photograph of his 3 children, all dead now, killed by disease and despair on the long walk. He hadn't opened this box in years, had tried to forget these things existed. But tonight, after the fight, after remembering what he was, he needed to see them. Needed to remember not just the warrior, but the man, the husband, the father, the person who'd lived before violence consumed everything. Tomorrow the Maddox brothers would learn what Crusher had learned. That some men carry history in their bones. That some warriors never truly retire. That age is not weakness when skill is eternal. Black Wind closed the box, pushed it back under the bed, blew out the candle. He lay down, but knew sleep would not come easy. It never did after violence. The ghosts were always loudest after blood was spilled. Outside, in the darkness, 3 riders approached Dustfall from the north. Wade, Flint, and Gannon Maddox. They'd received word an hour ago. Their youngest brother beaten, humiliated, destroyed by an old Indian in 4 seconds. The insult was unforgivable. The response would be brutal. War was riding toward Dustfall. And the old Navajo warrior, despite everything, despite all his wishes for peace, felt something he hadn't felt in 15 years. He felt alive. Dawn broke cold over Dustfall, painting the desert in shades of copper and gold. Luke Henderson arrived at Black Wind's adobe house as the first light touched the horizon, nervous energy coursing through him. He'd barely slept, mind racing with images of the previous night, the bottle exploding against an iron skull, the 4-second destruction of a man everyone feared. Now he stood at the threshold of something greater, something that would change him forever. Black Wind was already awake, sitting cross-legged in his small courtyard, eyes closed, breathing slow and measured. He didn't acknowledge Luke's arrival, didn't move, didn't speak. Just sat there, perfectly still, like a statue carved from ancient stone. Luke waited. Minutes passed. 5, 10, 15. The sun climbed higher, heat building, sweat forming on his brow. Still Black Wind sat motionless, and still Luke waited, understanding somehow that this was the first test. Patience, the ability to be still when every instinct screamed to move, to act, to do something. Finally, after what felt like an hour but was only 20 minutes, Black Wind opened his eyes. You came, good. Most would have reconsidered in night, when fear replaced excitement. Most would have stayed home, stayed safe, stayed ordinary. You did not. That tells me something about your spirit. What does it tell you? Luke asked, that you are either very brave or very stupid. Time will reveal which. Come, sit across from me. First lesson begins not with body, but with mind. Luke sat, mirroring Black Wind's position, cross-legged, back straight. The old Navajo studied him with those dark, penetrating eyes. Tell me why you want to learn. Real reason, not polite answer. Not because you want to be strong or brave. Real reason from deep inside. Luke hesitated, then spoke honestly. I'm tired of being afraid. Tired of watching men like Crusher hurt people and doing nothing. Tired of feeling weak. Tired of being nothing. I want to matter. Want to be someone people respect, not ignore. Black Wind nodded slowly. Honest answer. Dangerous answer. You want to matter through strength, through fighting, through fear. That path leads to darkness, leads to becoming what you hate. Crusher wanted same thing, wanted respect, got it through violence, became monster. You see the trap? But you're not a monster. You fought him, beat him, but you're not like him. No, but I have killed 63 men in my life. 63 souls I sent to spirit world before their time.
Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you.
Each one changed me, made me harder, made me colder, made me more alone. I am not monster because I stopped, because I chose peace, because I carry weight of those deaths every day. But make no mistake, young Luke, there is monster inside me. Inside every warrior. The difference between warrior and killer is not ability, is choice, is control, is knowing when to unleash monster and when to keep it caged. Luke absorbed this, the weight of it settling on his shoulders. How do you control it? How do you choose? That is what I will teach you. Not how to fight, that is easy. How to not fight, that is hard. How to have power but not use it. How to walk through world, carrying death in your hands but choosing life. That is warrior wisdom. That is what separates us from animals. For the next 3 hours, Black Wind taught. But not fighting techniques, not strikes or blocks or throws. Instead, he taught breathing, taught stillness, taught awareness. How to observe without being seen. How to listen beyond words. How to read a room, a person, a situation before violence became necessary. Most fights are won before first punch, Black Wind explained. By positioning. By awareness. By seeing violence coming and stepping aside. By de-escalating. By choosing battlefield if fight cannot be avoided. Physical skill matters less than mental preparation. Mind is weapon. Body is just tool mind uses. Luke struggled with the concepts, wanted action, wanted techniques, wanted something concrete. But Black Wind was patient, relentless. You want shortcuts. Want quick power. Does not exist. Real strength takes years to build. Takes thousands of repetitions. Takes failure and pain and persistence. I can teach you in days enough to survive, maybe. But to truly master, to become what I am, takes lifetime. Takes sacrifice you cannot yet imagine. By midday, word had spread through Dustfall. The Maddox brothers had been spotted 30 miles north, riding hard, asking questions. They'd reach town by evening, maybe sooner. Fear gripped the population. Shops closed early. Families prepared to shelter. The sheriff, a weak man named Clayton Marsh, disappeared entirely, riding out of town on urgent business that everyone knew was cowardice. Eli the bartender came to warn Black Wind, found him in the courtyard with Luke, now teaching basic footwork. How to move efficiently, how to create angles. They're coming, Eli said, breathless. Wade, Flint, and Gannon. Maybe 6 hours away. People are scared. Some want you to leave, take the trouble with you. Others want you to stay. Hope you can do to them what you did to Crusher. Black Wind didn't stop the lesson, just continued moving, demonstrating to Luke. I will not leave. Will not run. They come for me, I will face them. But town should stay inside. Should not interfere. This is between me and them. No one else needs to die. You can't face 3 professional gunfighters alone. Eli protested. They'll kill you. They're younger, faster, and there's 3 of them. This isn't like last night. Crusher was drunk brawler. His brothers are something else entirely. I know what they are, Black Wind said calmly. I have faced worse. Faced 10 Comanche warriors alone once, killed 7, escaped the rest. Faced firing squad in Mexican prison, survived. Faced death many times. Still here. Still breathing. We'll face these three. We'll survive. Or will not. Either way is my fate, not yours. Eli left, shaking his head. Convinced he'd just seen a dead man for the last time, Black Wind turned to Luke. You should go home. Should be with family. Should not be here when they arrive. I'm staying, Luke said firmly. You said you'd teach me. Can't learn if I run at first danger. This is not first danger. This is real danger. Death danger. You have no gun, no skill, no chance. You will just be liability, distraction I must protect instead of focusing on staying alive. Then teach me to not be liability. Give me a weapon. Tell me what to do. But I'm not leaving. Black Wind stared at him, measuring, deciding. Then he went inside his house, emerged with an old rifle. Single-shot Springfield, well-maintained but ancient. He handed it to Luke along with ammunition. You know how to shoot? My father taught me. Hunted rabbits as a boy. Rabbits do not shoot back. Men do. When bullets fly, everything changes. Body freezes. Mind screams. Hands shake. Training keeps you alive. Panic kills. You understand? Yes, no you do not. But you will. Today you will understand. If you survive. Now listen carefully. When they come, you will be on the roof of the saloon. High ground. Covered position. You will not shoot unless I signal. You will not reveal yourself unless necessary. You will be secret advantage. Hidden weapon they do not know exists. If things go wrong, if I fall, you shoot Wade first. He is leader, most dangerous. Without him, others may break. You get one shot. Make it count. Then run. Do not try to be hero. Do not avenge me. Just run, survive, live to be better man than I was. Promise me. Luke swallowed hard, nodded. I promise. Good, now we prepare. We have 5 hours. I will teach you everything I can in that time. May not be enough. Probably will not be enough. But is something. Is chance. Is more than most get. The afternoon passed in intense instruction. Black Wind taught Luke how to breathe during stress, how to aim despite fear, how to reload quickly, how to use cover, how to think tactically. Luke absorbed everything desperately, knowing his life would depend on remembering, on executing, on not freezing when the moment came. Around 4 in the afternoon, a rider came into town. Not the Maddox brothers, but a scout, a young man working for them. He rode straight to the saloon, dismounted, walked inside. Found it empty except for Eli, who was preparing for the inevitable violence. Moving bottles, clearing space, expecting destruction. Where's the old Indian? The scout demanded. Not here, Eli said carefully. Don't lie to me. Wade Maddox wants him. Wants him to know they're coming. Wants him to have chance to run if he's smart, or to wait if he's stupid. Either way, they arrive at sundown. Message is clear. Leave town and they'll let it go. Stay and die. Those are the options. You tell him that. I'll tell him, Eli said. The scout left, rode back north, disappearing into the desert heat. Eli closed the saloon, went to find Black Wind, delivered the message. The old Navajo listened without expression, then nodded. They offer mercy, interesting, means they fear me a little. Fear means respect. Respect means they understand what happened to Crusher was not luck. Good. Fear makes men careful. Careful men make mistakes. You're not leaving, are you? Eli asked, though he already knew the answer. Would you respect man who ran? Would you trust him? Would you believe anything he said ever again? Running destroys something inside. Something important. Better to die standing than live running. That is warrior code. That is why I stay. At 5:30, Black Wind positioned Luke on the saloon roof, behind the false front facade. Good cover, Good angle, good surprise advantage. He gave final instructions, final encouragement, final warning. Remember, one shot. Then disappear. Do not be hero. Do not try to save me if I fall. Just survive. Promise again, I promise, Luke said, voice steadier than he felt. Black Wind nodded, squeezed the young man's shoulder once, then climbed down. He walked to the center of Main Street, the wide dirt road that split Dustfall in half. He stood there, waiting, calm as stone, hands at his sides. No gun visible. No weapon apparent. Just an old man in the street, facing the setting sun. The town held its breath. Families huddled in homes, peeking through curtains, praying. Eli watched from his saloon window. The blacksmith, the general store owner, the doctor, all watching, all terrified, all mesmerized. Sundown came, 3 riders appeared on the northern road. Silhouettes against the dying light, moving slowly, deliberately, professionally. They spread out as they entered town, creating crossfire angles, eliminating cover, maximizing their advantage. Wade in the center, Flint on the left, Gannon on the right. All carried rifles across their saddles. All wore revolvers on their hips. All moved with the confidence of men who'd done this before, who'd killed before, who expected to kill again. They stopped 50 yards from Black Wind, still mounted, looking down at him. Wade spoke first, his voice carrying clearly in the evening air. You're the old Indian who beat my brother. I am man who defended himself when your brother attacked me. Yes, he says you took a bottle to the head and grinned. Says you moved faster than any man he's seen. Says you destroyed him in 4 seconds. That true? Your brother tells truth. Rare quality in his family, perhaps. Wade didn't react to the insult, just studied Black Wind carefully. We came to kill you. Came to make example. Came to restore family honor. But looking at you now, standing there alone, unarmed, waiting for 3 professional gunfighters, I'm wondering something. What do you wonder? I wonder if you're the stupidest man alive or the most dangerous. I wonder if we're about to murder a harmless old fool, or if we're about to make a fatal mistake. Black Wind smiled. Not the Wolf grin from last night. Something sadder. Something weary. You want truth? I am 81 years old. I am tired. I want peace. I want to finish my days quietly. But men like your brother, men like you, will not allow it. Will not let old warrior rest. Will keep coming, keep testing, keep forcing me to remember what I was. So I stand here and I give you choice your brother did not get. What choice? Walk away. Tell people you came, you saw me, you decided I was not worth the effort. Tell them old Indian was already half dead anyway, not worth the bullets. Save your pride. Save your lives. Save me from adding 3 more ghosts to the 63 I already carry. Flint laughed, harsh and mocking. You killed 63 men, you? Old man can barely stand up straight. And you want us to believe you're some kind of legendary killer? Believe what you want, Black Wind said quietly. Truth does not require belief to remain true. I have killed 63 men. Will kill 3 more today if you force me. Will not enjoy it. Will not celebrate it. Will simply do it because that is what I am. That is what I have always been. Warrior, survivor, man who refuses to die. Wade dismounted slowly, carefully. His brothers followed. They spread out further, triangulating Black Wind, cutting off escape routes, maximizing their advantage. Professional tactics. Military precision. These were not brawlers like Crusher. These were soldiers, killers, men who understood violence at a sophisticated level. Last chance, Wade said. Draw your weapon. Give us fair fight. Die like a man instead of being shot down like a dog. I have no weapon, Black Wind replied. Liar, no man stands here without a weapon. Where is it? I told you. I have no weapon. I have only this. Black Wind tapped his temple. And this, he tapped his chest. Mind and spirit. More dangerous than any gun when properly used. Gannon, the youngest of the three brothers, lost patience. Enough talking. Shoot him. End this. He drew his revolver, fast and smooth, aimed at Black Wind's chest, and Black Wind moved, not forward. Not back, sideways, sudden and explosive, faster than any 81-year-old should move. The bullet missed by inches, hit the dirt where he'd been standing. Before Gannon could adjust aim, before he could fire again. Black Wind was inside his range, inside his guard. Too close for the gun to matter, Black Wind's hand struck Gannon's wrist. Numbing nerve, forcing fingers open, gun falling. His other hand struck throat, precise and brutal, crushing windpipe. Gannon fell, choking, dying, eyes wide with shock and terror. 2 seconds. That's all it took. Wade and Flint fired simultaneously. But Black Wind was already moving, already rolling, already behind Gannon's falling body. The bullets that should have killed him killed their brother instead. Punching through his back, final mercy for a man already dying. Black Wind kept moving, serpentine pattern. Unpredictable angles, making himself difficult target. He grabbed Gannon's fallen revolver, came up firing. 2 shots. Both perfect. Both lethal. Flint took a round through his right eye, dead before his body understood. Wade took one through his left shoulder, spinning him, dropping him, crippling his gun arm. 6 seconds. 3 men engaged. 2 dead, 1 crippled. The math had changed drastically. Wade scrambled for his gun with his left hand. Untrained side. Desperate survival instinct. Black Wind shot the gun, sent it flying from Wade's reach. Then he stood over the wounded outlaw, Gannon's revolver pointed at Wade's head. Hammer cocked, finger on trigger. Please, Wade gasped. Please don't. I have a wife. I have children. Please. Black Wind stared down at him, face expressionless, eyes cold. For a long moment, nobody breathed. The entire town watched, waited, wondered. Would the old warrior show mercy? Or would he finish what the Maddox brothers started? Finally, Black Wind lowered the gun. Your brother Crusher lives because I chose mercy. You live because I choose mercy. But mercy has limits. Understanding has boundaries. You came to kill me. You killed your own brother with your carelessness. You have learned painfully that age is not weakness. That underestimation is fatal. That some men are dangerous specifically because they do not wish to be. Wade nodded frantically, blood soaking his shirt, pain overwhelming his pride. Take your dead. Take your wounded pride. Take your family and leave this territory. If I ever see you again, if I ever hear you cause trouble anywhere, I will find you. I will kill you. I will kill your wife. I will kill your children. I will end your entire bloodline so that the mistake of the Maddox family dies with you. Do you understand me? Yes, Wade whispered. Yes, I understand. Good. Now crawl to your horse. Ride away. Never return. Wade crawled, leaving blood trail in the dirt, sobbing with pain and humiliation. He reached his horse, somehow mounted despite his wound. Somehow stayed in saddle as the animal carried him north, away from Dustfall. Away from the old Navajo warrior who had destroyed his family in 6 seconds. Luke climbed down from the roof. Rifle unfired, face pale, hands shaking. He'd watched everything, seen the impossible speed, the perfect violence, the cold mercy. He approached Black Wind slowly, reverently, like approaching something sacred and terrifying. You killed 2 men in 6 seconds, Luke said quietly. Yes, you moved faster than anyone I've ever seen. Faster than seems possible, yes. How? How is that possible at your age? Black Wind looked at him, those dark eyes tired now, ancient now, carrying weight of millennia. Because I have done it 10,000 times before. Because my body knows these movements like breathing. Because when violence comes, I do not think. I simply act. Muscle memory. Warrior instinct. 60 years of training that cannot be erased by age. This is what you wanted to learn. This is what you saw. Still want it? Still want to walk this path? Luke looked at the bodies, at the blood, at the cost. Then back at Black Wind. Yes, more than ever. Teach me everything, Black Wind nodded slowly. Then we begin tomorrow. But tonight I bury these men. Tonight I add 2 more ghosts to my collection. Tonight I carry 2 more souls. This is the price. This is the reality. This is warrior life. Not glory. Not honor. Just death and ghosts and weight that never leaves. He walked to Flint's body, closed the dead man's eyes. Began the work of dragging him to the edge of town. Luke watched, understanding for the first time that strength was not just power. It was the burden of using it. And living with the consequences. Forever. 3 weeks passed since the Maddox brothers met their fate on Main Street. Dustfall changed in ways both visible and invisible. The fear that had gripped the town for 8 months evaporated like morning dew under desert sun. Shops stayed open later. Children played in streets again. Women walked without escorts. The town breathed freely for the first time in memory. And at the center of this transformation sat an 81-year-old Navajo warrior who wanted nothing more than to be left alone. But fame, Black Wind discovered, was a prison with invisible bars. Every day brought new visitors. People from neighboring towns, curious travelers, young men seeking wisdom or training. They came with questions, with requests, with challenges disguised as respect. Some wanted to hear the story firsthand. Others wanted to test themselves against the legend. A few came with genuine desire to learn, like Luke, but most came with ego and ambition, wanting to claim they'd met the warrior, or worse, that they'd beaten him. Black Wind turned them all away. Politely at first, then firmly, then with barely contained irritation. He had not sought fame, had not wanted attention, had simply defended himself twice, and now the world would not let him disappear back into peaceful obscurity. It was the curse he'd feared, the price of revealing what he was, and it gnawed at him like a wound that would not heal. Luke, however, remained. Every dawn found him at Black Wind's door, ready to learn, eager to grow, persistent as desert wind. The old warrior had tried to discourage him, had shown him the darkness, the cost, the burden. But Luke absorbed every lesson with quiet determination, never complaining, never quitting, never revealing the fear that surely lived inside him. Black Wind recognized something in the young man, something he'd seen in his own reflection 60 years ago. The seed of a true warrior, not the ego-driven violence of men like Crusher, but the disciplined strength of someone who understood that power existed to protect, not to dominate. On this particular morning, as Luke practiced footwork drills in the courtyard, Black Wind sat watching, sipping coffee, evaluating. The boy had improved remarkably in 3 weeks. His movements were smoother, more efficient. His breathing remained steady under exertion. His awareness had expanded. He no longer focused solely on what was directly in front of him, but maintained peripheral vision, sensing threats from all angles. Good progress, faster than most, but still years away from anything resembling mastery. You are thinking too much, Black Wind called out. Your mind is analyzing, calculating, trying to remember sequences. This is beginner mistake. Body must know movement so deeply that mind is free to observe, to strategize, to adapt. Right now you are like man trying to have conversation while also remembering how to speak, clumsy, inefficient. Luke stopped, breathing hard, frustration crossing his face. How do I stop thinking? How do I just know? Repetition. 10,000 repetitions. 20,000. Until movements are like heartbeat, Automatic, effortless, natural. There is no shortcut. No secret technique. Just work, just time. Just persistence. How long did it take you? Black Wind smiled slightly, a rare expression. I began training at age 5. Had basic competence at 10. Real skill at 15. Mastery at 25. And still, at 81, I learn new things. Warrior path has no destination, only journey. Moment you think you have mastered, you have failed. Because mastery requires humility to keep learning. Before Luke could respond, a commotion erupted from the direction of Main Street. Shouting voices, running footsteps, the unmistakable sound of trouble arriving. Black Wind stood smoothly, senses sharpening, warrior instinct activating. Luke grabbed his rifle, the Springfield that had become his constant companion, and together they moved toward the noise. A stagecoach had arrived, but not the regular Tuesday mail coach. This was a private conveyance, expensive, well-maintained, pulled by 6 horses instead of the usual 4. It sat in front of the general store, surrounded by curious townspeople. The driver looked nervous, kept glancing around like he expected attack. The shotgun guard had both barrels ready, finger on triggers, scanning rooftops and windows. The coach door opened, and a man emerged. Tall, maybe 6'2", slim build, expensive suit, silver-handled cane, carefully groomed beard streaked with gray. He moved with the careful precision of someone who understood violence intimately, but preferred to avoid it, through intelligence rather than force. His eyes, sharp and calculating, swept across the gathered crowd until they found and fixed on Black Wind. "You are hasty in Black Wind," the man said. Not a question, a statement of confirmed fact. His voice carried education, refinement, power. This was someone accustomed to being obeyed. Someone who commanded through presence rather than volume. "I am," Black Wind replied cautiously. "My name is Victor Castellana. I have traveled from Santa Fe specifically to speak with you. Might we converse somewhere private? What I have to say is not for public ears." Black Wind studied him carefully. The expensive clothes, the educated speech, the confidence all suggested wealth and influence. But there was something else, something hidden beneath the civilized exterior. This man was dangerous not in the obvious way of gunfighters and brawlers, but in the subtle way of men who moved pieces on boards, who destroyed lives with words and contracts rather than bullets. "We can speak at saloon. Eli keeps private room in back. Excellent. Lead the way." They walked to the Dustfall Saloon, Luke following silently, rifle in hand, protective. Black Wind noticed the young man's instinct to guard, to position himself between the stranger and his teacher. Good awareness, proper caution, the protective instinct of a developing warrior. Inside the saloon, Eli provided access to his small back room, usually reserved for high-stakes card games. Black Wind and Castellana sat across from each other at a scarred wooden table. Luke stationed himself by the door, watching, listening. Castellana removed his hat, set his cane aside, and leaned forward with the intensity of a man about to propose something significant. "I will be direct, as I suspect you appreciate efficiency over elaborate preamble. I am aware of what transpired here 3 weeks ago. I know you defeated Vance Maddox and subsequently killed 2 of his brothers while crippling the 3rd. I know the bottle incident that precipitated these events. I know your reputation, or rather, your historical reputation from decades past. You know many things. What do you want?" "I want to hire you." Black Wind's expression didn't change, but Luke saw something flicker in those dark eyes. Surprise, perhaps, or maybe just recognition of an expected pattern. "I am not for hire. I am retired. I seek only peace. Peace is a luxury, Mr. Black Wind, and luxuries cost money. I am prepared to pay handsomely for your services. $5,000 for 3 weeks of work." The sum was staggering. $5,000 represented multiple years of income for most men. Luke's eyes widened despite his attempt to remain impassive. But Black Wind simply shook his head. I have enough money. I need no more. Find someone else for whatever violence you require. This is not about violence, though I confess violence may become necessary. This is about protection, about justice, about preventing a great wrong from occurring. Let me explain, and then decide. Surely you can spare 10 minutes to hear an old man's troubles. Black Wind gestured for him to continue. Castellana pulled a photograph from his jacket, slid it across the table.
Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us now. Back to the story.
It showed a young woman, maybe 19 or 20, dark hair, serious eyes, dressed in expensive clothes that suggested wealth. This is my daughter, Isabella. She is my only child, my only heir, and currently she's being held against her will at a ranch 40 miles north of here, by a man named Silas Blackthorn. Tell me what happened. Blackthorn is a cattle baron who has spent the past 15 years building an empire through intimidation, violence, and legal manipulation. He owns 50,000 acres, runs 10,000 head of cattle, employs 60 men, most of them little better than outlaws. 6 months ago, he decided he wanted to expand his influence into legitimate society, to transform from frontier tyrant into respected businessman. To achieve this, he decided he needed a wife from an established family, someone whose reputation and connections could smooth his transition. Your daughter. Precisely. He approached me with a marriage proposal. I refused naturally. Isabella had never met the man and had no interest in being bartered like livestock. Blackthorn did not accept the rejection gracefully. 2 months ago, while traveling from Santa Fe to visit her aunt in Albuquerque, Isabella's coach was attacked. Her guards were killed. She was taken. Blackthorn sent word that she was his guest, that she had reconsidered his proposal, that a wedding would occur within 3 months. You went to law. I went to everyone. The territorial marshal, the governor, federal authorities. Blackthorn has purchased or intimidated them all. They claim insufficient evidence of kidnapping, suggest Isabella went willingly, imply I am a meddling father unable to accept his daughter's choice. It is lies, all lies, but lies backed by power and money become truth in the eyes of law. Why come to me? Why not hire army of gunfighters, attack his ranch, take her back by force? Castellana's face darkened. I tried. Hired 12 professional guns, excellent men, experienced fighters. They attacked the ranch 2 weeks ago. All 12 died. Blackthorn's men are too numerous, too entrenched. Direct assault is suicide. But one man, the right man, moving with stealth and skill rather than brute force, might succeed where an army failed. Black Wind sat silent, processing, considering. Luke watched his teacher's face, saw the internal debate, the warrior's instinct to protect the innocent warring with the old man's desire for peace. Finally, Black Wind spoke. Why would I succeed where 12 professional gunfighters failed? Because you are not merely a gunfighter. You are a scout, a tracker, a warrior trained in stealth and tactics by the Navajo, who were among the finest guerrilla fighters this land has ever known. Because you move like ghost, like wind, like shadow. Because you do not rely solely on guns, but on intelligence and adaptability. Because, frankly, you are my last hope. If you refuse, Isabella marries Blackthorn in 10 days, and I lose my daughter to a monster. The word monster hung in the air, heavy with desperation and truth. Black Wind closed his eyes, and Luke saw him age before his eyes, saw the weight of decades pressing down, saw the exhaustion of a man who had fought enough, killed enough, suffered enough. When he opened his eyes again, they were harder, colder, resigned to what he knew he would do despite every part of him screaming to refuse. $10,000, Black Wind said quietly. Castellana blinked. I offered 5. 10,000. Half now, half when your daughter is safe. And I choose how mission is conducted. No interference. No suggestions. No limitations. I do this my way, completely, or not at all. Done. Agreed. When can you leave? Tomorrow at dawn. Tonight I prepare. Luke, you will stay here. No, Luke said immediately, stepping forward. You said you'd teach me. This is how I learn. By watching, by doing, by being there. I'm coming, you will die. This is not practice. Not lesson. This is real operation against 60 armed men protecting stolen woman in fortified position. You have 3 weeks of training. That is nothing. You are liability. Then I'll be careful liability. I'll stay back, stay hidden, stay out of your way. But I'm coming. You can't stop me from following anyway. So better I come with you where you can at least tell me what not to do. Black Wind stared at the young man. Saw the determination, the foolish bravery. The absolute refusal to be left behind. It was like looking in a mirror across 60 years, seeing himself as a young warrior refusing to be excluded from his first real raid. He had been just as stubborn, just as certain, just as blind to the dangers. His elders had tried to protect him, and he had ignored them. Now he was the elder, and history repeated itself with perfect symmetry. You do exactly what I say when I say, without question or hesitation. You speak only when spoken to. You take no initiative, no independent action. You are shadow, nothing more. Break these rules, and I will leave you tied to a tree and complete mission alone. Understand? I understand. Good, go home. Tell your mother you will be gone for 2 weeks. Bring only what you can carry easily. No luxuries. No sentimentality. Weapons, water, food, bedroll. Nothing else. Meet me here 1 hour before dawn. Luke left quickly, excitement and fear mixing in equal measure. Castellina watched him go, then turned back to Black Wind. You are bringing an untrained boy on a stealth mission against 60 armed men. I am bringing a student who needs to see reality, who needs to understand what warrior life actually means beyond romantic stories and practice drills. He will learn or die. Either way, the lesson will be complete. You are a harsh teacher. I am honest teacher. Harsh is what keeps students alive long enough to become masters. Now tell me everything you know about Blackthorn's ranch. Layout, defenses, patrol patterns, number of men, their quality, everything. I need to build a map in my mind before I ever see the place. For the next 3 hours, Castellina provided every detail he possessed. Black Wind listened with complete focus, asking sharp questions, demanding clarification on ambiguities, building a 3-dimensional model of the target in his mind. He learned that Blackthorn's ranch was built like a fortress, main house in the center, bunkhouses arranged in defensive perimeter, high walls, limited entry points. The 60 men were divided into shifts, 20 on duty at any given time, rotating every 8 hours. They were well-armed, well-trained, loyal through either fear or generous pay. Blackthorn himself was a crackshot, paranoid, and intelligent. He had survived numerous attempts on his life, had killed several men personally, and trusted no one completely. Isabella was kept in the main house, 2nd floor, northeast corner room. Window was barred. Door was locked from outside. A guard stationed in the hallway at all times. She was allowed outside for 1 hour each day, always accompanied by at least 3 armed men, always watched. Blackthorn visited her daily, trying to convince her to marry willingly, promising kindness and luxury, threatening consequences if she continued to refuse. The forced wedding was scheduled for 10 days from now. A grand affair to which territorial officials and business leaders had been invited. A public spectacle designed to legitimize the kidnapping through social acceptance. Black Wind absorbed it all, filed it away, began forming plans. Multiple approaches, multiple contingencies, multiple escape routes. He would need to scout the ranch personally before committing to any single strategy. Would need to observe patterns, identify weaknesses, find the cracks in Blackthorn's armor. It would take time, patience, careful preparation. Rushing meant failure. Failure meant death. His own and Isabella's, as the sun set. Castellana prepared to return to Santa Fe. He had business to attend to, appearances to maintain. A life that could not simply stop because his daughter was imprisoned. Before leaving, he handed Black Wind a leather pouch heavy with coin. $5,000 in gold. The rest when you return with Isabella. And Mr. Black Wind, if you succeed, if you bring my daughter home safely, I will give you anything else you want. Land, position, influence. Name it and it is yours. I want nothing but money promised. Keep your land and influence. I have no use for such things, Castellina nodded, understanding this was a man who could not be bought beyond the transaction agreed upon. He climbed into his coach, tapped the roof, and the driver whipped the horses into motion. The expensive conveyance rolled away, leaving Black Wind standing in the dusty street, holding a fortune in gold and contemplating a mission that would likely end in violence and blood. Eli approached quietly. You are really doing this? Really going after Blackthorn? Man is legend of cruelty. Killed his own brother over a property dispute. Burned a family alive for refusing to sell their water rights. Hanged 3 of his own men for stealing a single cow. He is monster Black Wind. Monster with 60 guns. I know what he is. But young woman is prisoner. Innocent woman facing forced marriage to monster. Cannot ignore that. Cannot let that happen if there is chance to prevent it. Why not? Why is this your problem? You do not know her. Do not know Castellina. This is not your fight. Black Wind was quiet for a long moment, staring at the horizon where the coach had disappeared. When he spoke, his voice carried weight of ancient conviction. When I was young during the wars, I saw many women taken. Saw them suffer. Saw what happens when strong men do not protect weak. Saw the consequences of good men doing nothing. I made promise then, to myself, to the spirits, to the memory of those who died. I would never again stand by while innocent suffered. Would never again choose comfort over justice. I have broken many promises in my long life. But not that one. Never that one. Eli gripped the old warrior's shoulder briefly, gesture of respect and understanding. Then I pray you succeed. And I pray you come back alive. This town has grown accustomed to feeling safe. Losing you would return us to darkness. Black Wind returned to his small house and began preparations. He checked his weapons, 2 revolvers, a rifle, 2 knives, all cleaned and ready. He packed light, dried meat, hardtack, canteen, rope, basic supplies. He studied the mental map he had constructed, visualizing approaches, timing movements, calculating risks. Sleep would not come easy tonight, but he would rest as he could. Tomorrow began a mission that would test everything he still possessed, all the skills that age had not stolen, all the instincts that remained sharp despite 8 decades of wear. In another part of town, Luke Henderson packed his own supplies with trembling hands. Excitement and terror mixing until he could not distinguish between them. He was about to enter the real world of the warrior, about to see what Black Wind had been trying to teach him through words and practice. Part of him screamed to stay home, to remain safe, to let the old man go alone. But a deeper part, the part that had watched Crusher fall in 4 seconds, the part that had seen the Maddox brothers destroyed in 6, that part demanded he go, demanded he prove himself, demanded he become more than he was. Tomorrow they would ride north together toward Blackthorn's fortress ranch. Toward 60 armed men. Toward violence and danger and death. Toward rescue or ruin. toward the ultimate test of whether an 81-year-old legend still possessed the skills that had kept him alive through 6 decades of warfare, and toward the answer to a question Luke barely dared to ask himself. Could he, a shopkeeper's son with 3 weeks of training, survive in the world Black Wind inhabited? Could he become the warrior he dreamed of being? Or would he die screaming, regretting his arrogance, wishing he had stayed home where he belonged? The desert night offered no answers. Only stars and silence and the promise of blood to come. They rode out before dawn. 2 figures on horseback disappearing into the purple darkness of the New Mexico desert. Black Wind sat his horse with the easy grace of a man who'd spent more years in the saddle than on the ground. Luke followed close behind, nervous energy radiating from him like heat, checking his rifle for the 100th time, adjusting his canteen, fidgeting with reins. The old Navajo said nothing about the anxiety, remembering his own first real mission. The same restless fear that came from knowing practice was ending and reality beginning. They traveled in silence for hours. The only sounds the steady rhythm of hoofbeats and the occasional cry of a hawk circling overhead. Black Wind set a punishing pace, not the leisurely ride of travelers, but the determined march of warriors with purpose. Luke's legs ached after the first hour. His back screamed after the second. But he said nothing, refused to complain, refused to show weakness around mid-morning. Black Wind finally stopped at a rocky outcropping that provided shade and concealment. He dismounted smoothly, gestured for Luke to do the same. "We rest here for 2 hours. Horses need water, we need food. Blackthorn's ranch is still 20 miles north. We will not approach until nightfall tomorrow. Today we scout from distance. Tomorrow we plan. Next day we act. Why wait so long? Every day Isabella stays prisoner is another day she suffers. Impatience kills more warriors than enemies do. Rushing means mistakes. Mistakes mean death. We wait because waiting increases chance of success. Because careful preparation is difference between rescue and suicide. You want to help her? Then learn patience." Luke nodded, understanding that every word from Black Wind's mouth was lesson. Every moment was teaching. He unsaddled his horse, rubbed the animal down, gave it water sparingly. Black Wind watched with approval, noting the care, the attention to details. They ate dried meat and hardtack, drank conservatively, rested in the shade while the desert sun climbed toward its punishing zenith. Black Wind closed his eyes but didn't sleep, merely rested, conserving energy while remaining aware. Luke tried to imitate him but found his mind racing, imagining scenarios. Seeing himself heroically saving Isabella or dying horribly in the attempt. "You are making yourself afraid," Black Wind said without opening his eyes. "Can hear your breathing change, hear your heart race. You are imagining futures that do not exist, creating fear from nothing. How do you not think about what might happen?" "I think tactically, strategically. I imagine scenarios to plan responses, not to create fear. Fear is emotion that clouds judgment. I acknowledge it, then set it aside. When moment comes, body will know what to do because it has practiced. Mind will be calm because it has planned. Fear has no room when preparation is complete." They rode again in late afternoon, circling wide around Blackthorn's ranch, staying miles distant. Black Wind moved like a ghost, reading the land with expertise. He pointed out signs Luke would never have noticed. Tracks showing patrol routes, disturbed ground indicating regular passages. The subtle indicators marking the edges of Blackthorn's domain. As the sun set, they climbed a mesa 3 miles east of the ranch. From this elevated position, they could observe without being seen. Black Wind produced a small brass telescope, extended it, spent long minutes examining every detail of the compound below. The ranch was indeed a fortress. High adobe walls enclosed several acres, with a main house dominating the center. Surrounding it were bunkhouses, stables, storage buildings, all arranged with defensive logic. The main gate was heavy timber reinforced with iron, guarded by 4 men with rifles. Watchtowers stood at 3 corners, each manned by armed lookouts. Black Wind counted visible personnel, estimated timing of patrols, noted shift changes, analyzed fields of fire and dead zones. He mapped escape routes, identified weaknesses, calculated distances. Luke watched in fascination as the old warrior transformed into pure, predatory intelligence, assessing prey with cold precision. After an hour of observation, Black Wind lowered the telescope. 60 men, maybe 65. They are disciplined, professional. 20 on duty at any time. Good fields of fire, limited approaches. Direct assault would require 100 men and result in heavy casualties. So how do we get in? We do not get in. I get in. You remain outside, positioned here with rifle. You are backup, insurance, last resort. If I emerge with Isabella, you cover our escape. If I do not emerge by dawn, you return to Dustfall. Tell Castellana I failed. I can help. I can provide distraction. No, you stay here. That is order. You have 3 weeks of training. These men are veterans killers. You engage them directly, you die. Your job is to wait, to watch, to learn by observation. Luke wanted to argue, but something in Black Wind's tone made it clear the discussion was finished. Frustration burned in his chest. He had come all this way to prove himself, and now he would sit on a mesa watching. Black Wind saw the frustration. Patience is warrior virtue you have not yet learned. I do not leave you here to spare you danger. I leave you here because that is where you are most useful. Sniper position with good sight lines is valuable tactical asset. Your ego wants glory. Your duty requires patience. Choose which matters more. The words shocked Luke into clarity. He was being selfish, thinking about his pride rather than about the mission, about Isabella. Black Wind was right. Success mattered more than glory, I understand, Luke said quietly. I will maintain position here. We'll watch for your signal. We'll provide cover if needed. Black Wind nodded approval. Good. Now we wait for deep night, for shift change at midnight when guards are tired. That is when I enter. Watch and learn. They settled into wait. Midnight approached. Luke could barely see Black Wind in the darkness now, just a shadow among shadows. Then the shadow moved, and Luke jumped slightly. Black Wind stood, gathered his weapons, tied his long silver hair back tightly. He became a ghost, a whisper. Remember your orders, Black Wind said quietly. Stay here, watch, cover if needed. Return to Dustfall if I fail. Before Luke could respond, Black Wind disappeared down the mess's slope. One moment he was there, the next he was gone, swallowed by darkness. Luke strained to follow his movement but could see nothing, hear nothing. Luke settled into position with his rifle and began the hardest part, the waiting. Minutes stretched into eternities. His eyes ached from straining to see movement. Every shadow seemed to move, every sound amplified. Then Luke noticed something. The guard tower nearest the main house. The man in the tower was slumped over, not moving. Luke focused his telescope, and in the faint moonlight, he could just make out the guard's position, clearly unconscious or dead. Black Wind had been there. More minutes crawled past. Then suddenly, a light appeared in Isabella's second-floor window. Brief flare of a match there and gone. The window opened. A figure appeared, silhouetted against interior darkness. Female figure. Isabella. She climbed onto the window ledge. Then a second figure appeared behind her. Black Wind. A rope dropped from the window. Isabella grabbed it, began descending slowly, awkwardly. Black Wind followed immediately after, reaching the ground and guiding Isabella toward the shadows along the wall. Then the alarm bell rang loud, insistent, shattering the night silence. Men emerged from bunkhouses, grabbing weapons, shouting. Torches were lit. Someone had discovered the escape. Black Wind and Isabella ran, sprinting for the wall. Gunfire erupted, muzzle flashes lighting the darkness. Bullets chewing into adobe around the fleeing figures. Luke raised his rifle, found a target. A guard taking careful aim at Black Wind and Isabella. He fired. The rifle's roar echoed. The guard spun and fell. Luke worked the bolt, fired again. Another guard down, but now guards knew someone was out here. Rifles turned toward the mesa. Bullets began impacting around Luke, forcing him down. Below, Black Wind reached the wall with Isabella. He lifted her up, practically throwing her over the barrier. She landed hard on the other side. Black Wind vaulted the wall, landing beside her, pulling her to her feet. The main gate burst open, mounted riders pouring out, at least 15 men on horseback with torches and guns. They would run down the fleeing pair in minutes. Luke saw the disaster unfolding and made a decision. He ran to his horse, mounted quickly, kicked it into a gallop. He rode toward the pursuing riders, rifle in one hand, screaming a war cry. The riders saw him coming, confusion rippling through their ranks. Luke fired one-handed from horseback, and a rider fell. The others scattered, returning fire but now focused on this new threat instead of on Black Wind and Isabella. A bullet grazed Luke's arm, burning pain. Another hit his horse, and the animal stumbled. Luke kicked free as the horse went down, hit the ground rolling, came up firing his revolver. Then Black Wind was there, appearing from darkness, both revolvers firing. 3 riders fell in as many seconds. The rest broke, their courage failing. "Mount double," Black Wind commanded, pointing to a riderless horse. Luke grabbed the reins, managed to mount. Black Wind lifted Isabella onto the horse behind Luke, then mounted his own captured horse. "Ride east. Ride hard. Go now." They rode, 3 figures on 2 horses, racing into the desert darkness. Luke's arm bled freely, his whole body shook with adrenaline. He had just charged 15 armed men alone. Had survived. They rode hard for an hour before Black Wind signaled to slow. In the moonlight, Black Wind examined Luke's wound. Superficial, the bullet had merely grazed the flesh. He bound it tightly. Then he looked Luke in the eyes, and for the first time, the old warrior smiled. A real smile, warm and proud. "You disobeyed orders. You charged 15 men alone. You nearly got yourself killed," Black Wind said. Then the smile widened. "You also saved our lives. Saved the mission. Showed courage beyond your years. Today, Luke Henderson, you became more than student. Today you became brother in arms." Luke felt tears sting his eyes, overcome with emotion. With the recognition he'd desperately sought, Isabella spoke for the first time, voice hoarse. "Thank you. Both of you. Thank you for risking your lives for someone you don't know." Black Wind nodded. "We are not safe yet. Blackthorn will pursue. Will hunt us. We must reach Dustfall. 2 more days of hard riding. Rest now while you can." They made cold camp in a ravine, no fire, just exhaustion and survival. Luke lay awake, unable to believe what he'd done, what he'd survived. And somewhere behind them, Silas Blackthorn stood in his fortress ranch, staring at the empty room, rage burning. He called for his best tracker, his most ruthless killers. Find them. Kill the rescuers. Bring the woman back. The hunt had only just begun. The second day of their escape dawned with a blood-red sunrise that painted the desert in ominous shades. Black Wind woke first, as he always did, and immediately checked their back trail. What he saw made his jaw tighten. Dust cloud on the horizon, maybe 5 miles back, moving fast. Blackthorn's hunters had found their trail and were closing the distance with professional determination. "Luke, Isabella, wake up. "We have company." They broke camp in minutes, no breakfast, no rest, just mounting and riding. But Isabella was struggling, unused to hard riding, her body aching from the previous day's ordeal. Her hands were blistered from the rope descent, her legs cramped from hours in the saddle. She tried to hide the pain, tried to keep pace, but Black Wind saw the truth in her pale face and trembling hands. "We cannot outrun them," Black Wind said after 2 hours of punishing ride. "She is too tired, horses are too worn, and they are too close. We need different strategy." "What strategy?" Luke asked, fear creeping into his voice. "We make them think we continued south, but we double back east through the canyon country. Rough terrain, difficult to track, many places to hide. They will follow false trail while we slip away." They rode to a rocky stretch where tracks would be difficult to read. Black Wind dismounted, began carefully constructing a false trail, using branches to sweep away some prints while leaving others, creating the illusion of continued southward flight. Then they turned east, picking their way carefully across bare rock that would leave no trace, entering a maze of canyons and ravines that Black Wind seemed to know intimately. "You have been here before," Luke observed, "many times. These canyons were Navajo refuge during the wars. We hid here, raided from here, disappeared here when soldiers came. I know every path, every water source, every hidden cave. If we can reach the deep canyons before they spot us, we can lose them completely." They pressed deeper into the canyon system, the walls rising higher on both sides, the path narrowing to barely wide enough for horses. Isabella swayed in her saddle, exhaustion winning the battle against willpower. Black Wind called a halt in a small box canyon with a hidden spring, the kind of place only someone intimately familiar with the land would know existed. "We rest here for 1 hour. Isabella needs water and food. Horses need same. Luke, you climb the rim, watch our back trail. If you see them, signal immediately. 2 rifle shots means they found us. 1 shot means false alarm." Luke climbed the steep canyon wall using handholds and ledges that Black Wind pointed out, reaching the rim and positioning himself where he could see back the way they'd come. The desert stretched endlessly, beautiful and deadly. For 30 minutes, he saw nothing. Then movement caught his eye. Riders, 6 of them, moving fast and purposefully. Not following the false trail south, but coming directly east, directly toward their position. Someone in that group was a skilled tracker who hadn't been fooled by Black Wind's deception. Luke's heart hammered as he watched them approach. Getting closer, closer, now maybe 2 miles away. He fired 2 shots. The signal, then scrambled down the canyon wall so fast he nearly fell twice. "They're coming." 6 riders. 2 miles out and closing fast. "They're headed straight for us." Black Wind's expression didn't change, but something cold and deadly entered his eyes. "They have a tracker, someone who reads sign better than I expected. We cannot run, cannot hide, cannot avoid this. So we fight. But not here. We need better ground, better advantage." He led them deeper into the canyon system, moving with urgent purpose, until they reached a place where the canyon narrowed to a bottleneck barely 10 feet wide, with high walls on both sides. Perfect ambush position. Perfect killing ground. "Isabella, you stay here behind these rocks, completely hidden. Do not move, do not make sound, no matter what you hear. Luke, you take position on west rim with rifle. I take east rim. They must come through this bottleneck single file. When they do, we have them trapped. Understand?" "We're going to kill them," Luke said quietly. Not question, statement of fact, yes, all of them, if possible. Because if any escape, they report our position, bring more men, and we die. This is not practice. This is survival. You must shoot to kill, must not hesitate, must not show mercy. Can you do this?" Luke thought of Isabella, terrified and exhausted. Thought of what would happen if Blackthorn's men captured them. Thought of the evil that had kidnapped an innocent woman for forced marriage. He looked Black Wind in the eyes and nodded. I can do this. They climbed to their positions. Luke on the west rim, Black Wind on the east. Both lying flat, invisible from below, rifles ready. Isabella huddled behind rocks at the far end of the bottleneck, shaking with fear but silent as death. They waited. The hunters came carefully, professionally, weapons ready, spread out in defensive formation. But the canyon forced them to compress, to enter the bottleneck single file, exactly as Black Wind had predicted. The lead rider, a hard-faced man with a tracker's eyes, paused at the entrance, sensing danger, instinct warning him. Too late, Black Wind and Luke fired simultaneously. 2 riders fell, dead before they hit the ground. The others scattered, taking cover behind rocks, returning fire, bullets ricocheting off canyon walls with deadly whine. But they were trapped in the bottleneck, unable to advance, unable to retreat effectively, caught in the killing ground. Black Wind moved positions after each shot, never firing twice from the same spot, making himself impossible to target. Luke tried to copy him, moving after firing, but younger legs and less experience made him slower, more predictable. A bullet passed so close to his head he felt the wind of it. Stay down more, Black Wind called. Only expose when ready to fire. Make every shot count. Luke adjusted, became more careful, more patient. He found a target, a hunter trying to climb the west wall to reach his position. Luke fired, and the man fell, tumbling down the rocks, dead or dying. 4 down, 2 remaining. The last 2 hunters made a desperate decision. They charged, spurring horses forward through the bottleneck, firing wildly, hoping speed and aggression would carry them through. Bold tactic, desperate tactic, wrong tactic. Black Wind's rifle spoke twice, calm and measured. Both riders fell. The horses, spooked by gunfire and blood, bolted past Isabella's hiding place and disappeared deeper into the canyon. Silence settled over the killing ground, broken only by the moans of wounded men. Black Wind descended from his position, walked among the fallen with revolver drawn, checking each man. 2 were already dead. 3 were dying, bleeding out from fatal wounds. 1, the tracker, still lived, gut-shot and suffering. Knowing death was coming, but not yet claimed, the tracker looked up at Black Wind with pain-hazed eyes. You're him. The old Navajo from Dustfall. Blackthorn warned us you were dangerous. Said you killed his men like they were nothing. We didn't believe him. Thought he was making excuses. We were wrong. You came to recapture innocent woman, to drag her back to forced marriage. You chose evil, paid price for it. I have no sympathy. Blackthorn won't stop. He'll send everyone. He'll burn Dustfall to the ground to get her back. His pride won't let this go. You haven't won. You've just delayed the inevitable. Black Wind knelt beside the dying man. Tell me about Blackthorn. Tell me his weaknesses, his fears, his secrets. Tell me what I need to know to end this. Do this, and I end your suffering quickly. Refuse, and you die slowly in this canyon, alone and unmourned. The tracker laughed, bitter and pained. You think you can kill Blackthorn? In his fortress? With 60 guns protecting him? You're old man. You're legend, sure, but you're still just one old man. He'll kill you. But I'll tell you anyway, because I'm dying and I hate him for sending me on this suicide mission. For the next 5 minutes, the tracker talked. Told about Blackthorn's routines, his paranoia, his habit of drinking alone in his study every night, the secret entrance to the ranch used for smuggling, the fact that most of his men feared him more than they were loyal to him. He talked until his voice faded, until death rattled in his throat, until Black Wind kept his promise and ended the suffering with a single merciful bullet. Luke had watched everything, face pale, hands shaking slightly. He had killed men today. 3 men. Had watched them die. Watched the light leave their eyes. It wasn't like he'd imagined, wasn't clean or heroic or glorious. It was ugly and final and would haunt him forever. First kills are hardest, Black Wind said quietly. You feel sick, feel guilty, feel like you've lost something important. That is good. That means you have conscience, have soul. Men who kill without feeling are monsters. We kill because we must, to protect innocent, to stop evil. But we carry weight of it. We remember their faces. We honor their deaths by never killing carelessly, never killing for pleasure. This is warrior way. This is burden we accept. Isabella emerged from her hiding place, shaking, tears streaming. They're dead. All dead. Because of me. Because I was kidnapped. This is my fault. No, Black Wind said firmly. This is Blackthorn's fault. He stole you. He sent these men. He chose violence. You chose nothing. You are victim, not villain. These men chose to serve evil, chose to chase innocent women, chose to fight rather than leave. They chose their fate. You bear no responsibility. They gathered the weapons and ammunition from the dead men, valuable supplies that would serve them well. They took canteens, food, anything useful. Then they mounted and rode deeper into the canyons, leaving the bodies for the coyotes and vultures. Hard necessity in a harsh land by nightfall. They had put 20 miles between themselves and the ambush site. They made camp in a sheltered cave that Black Wind knew, with water nearby and concealment perfect. They built a small fire, hidden deep in the cave where smoke would disperse before reaching open air. They ate properly for the first time in 2 days. We reach Dustfall tomorrow by noon, Black Wind said. Once there, Isabella goes to her father. Mission is complete. Castellana pays remaining 5,000. Then I disappear again, find new place to hide, new name to use. Story will spread, legend will grow, and more young fools will come looking for me. So I run again, as I have run for 20 years. Why run? Isabella asked. Why not stay in Dustfall? People there respect you, appreciate you. You've protected them. You could have home, have community, have peace. Fame is not peace. Fame is target painted on your back. Every gunfighter seeking reputation will come to Dustfall looking for me. Every troubled town will send representatives begging for help. Every person with impossible problem will appear at my door. I will never know quiet again. So I disappear, become someone else, somewhere else. Until next time someone forces me to fight and cycle begins again. Luke stared into the fire, thinking about the tracker's words. About Blackthorn sending everyone to Dustfall, burning the town. What if he comes to Dustfall? What if he brings his 60 men to destroy the town because they helped you? Black Wind was silent for a long moment. Then I made mistake. Then my actions endangered innocent people. Then I must fix what I broke. How? By ending Source. By going to Blackthorn's ranch one more time. By killing him. By removing threat permanently so it cannot spread. One man dies or whole town suffers. Simple arithmetic. That's suicide. You said yourself, direct assault on his fortress is impossible. Direct assault, yes. But Tracker gave me information. Secret entrance. Blackthorn's nightly routine. His men's fear of him. I can use these things. Can infiltrate, can reach him, can kill him in his own home. Will be dangerous. Will probably die trying. But if it protects Dustfall, protects innocent people who helped me, then it is price worth paying. Isabella grabbed Black Wind's hand, desperate. No, you've done enough. You saved me. That's enough. Don't throw your life away for revenge. Not revenge. Protection, prevention, different motives, same action. I am 81 years old. I have lived long, full life. Seen much, done much, survived much. If I die protecting others, that is good death. Warrior death. Honorable death. Better than dying in bed, old and useless and alone. Luke stood abruptly. Then I'm coming with you. If you go back to kill Blackthorn, I go too. You said I'm brother in arms now. Brothers don't let brothers face death alone. You have whole life ahead. Have potential. Should not throw it away on old man's final mission. My choice. My decision. You taught me that warrior protects innocent, stops evil, accepts burden of violence so others don't have to. Well, Blackthorn is evil. Dustfall is innocent. I'm warrior now, or trying to be. So I'm coming. Black Wind looked at Luke for a long time, seeing the determination, the courage, the foolish nobility of youth. He remembered being that young, being that certain, being that willing to die for principles. He wanted to protect Luke, to send him away, to save him from what was coming. But he recognized that Luke had earned the right to choose, had proven himself capable, had become more than student. Then we go together. Tomorrow we deliver Isabella to her father. Next day we plan. Day after, we return to Blackthorn's ranch. We kill him or he kills us. Either way, story ends. They slept uneasily that night, each contemplating mortality, each knowing that the final act was approaching, each understanding that some of them might not survive to see another sunrise. And far behind them, at Blackthorn's ranch, the cattle baron stood alone in his study, staring at a map of the territory, marking where his hunters should have been, calculating how long before they reported success. When 2 more days passed with no word, he would understand. Understand they were dead. Understand the old Navajo was more dangerous than imagined. Understand that overwhelming force was required. He would gather his entire army, would march on Dustfall, would burn it to ashes and salt the earth, would make examples so complete that no one would ever dare defy Silas Blackthorn again. The war was expanding, escalating beyond personal vendetta into something larger, something darker, something that would require extraordinary courage and sacrifice to stop. And an 81-year-old Navajo warrior was running directly toward it, choosing battle over peace, choosing sacrifice over safety, choosing to be the legend one final time. They rode into Dustfall at midday, 3 riders on 2 horses, covered in trail dust and dried blood. The town erupted in celebration when they recognized Black Wind and Luke, when they saw the young woman riding between them. Word spread like wildfire through every street and building. The impossible rescue had succeeded. The legend had done it again. People emerged from homes and businesses, cheering, calling out gratitude, their faces bright with relief and joy. Victor Castellana burst from the hotel where he'd been anxiously waiting for days, tears streaming down his weathered face as he helped his daughter down from the horse. He held Isabella like she might disappear, like she was a dream he feared waking from. She clung to him just as desperately, sobbing into his shoulder, finally safe after 2 months of captivity and terror. They stood there in the dusty street, father and daughter reunited, while the entire town watched with joy. You did it, Castellana breathed, looking at Black Wind with something approaching reverence. You actually did it. I had hoped, had prayed, but I didn't truly believe it possible. 1 man against Blackthorn's fortress, against 60 armed guards, against impossible odds. And you succeeded where 12 professional gunfighters failed. 2 men, Black Wind corrected, gesturing to Luke, could not have done it without him. He charged 15 armed riders alone to buy us escape. He showed courage beyond his years, beyond his training. He has earned his place as warrior, earned respect as brother in arms. Castellana pulled a heavy leather pouch from his coat, handed it to Black Wind with both hands, the weight of it substantial. $5,000, as promised. And if you need anything else, anything at all, land or position or influence. You have only to ask. My family owes you a debt that can never be repaid. You've given me back my daughter, my only child. Black Wind accepted the payment, felt the weight of it. More money than most men saw in a lifetime, more than enough to disappear for years, to live comfortably in some remote place where no one knew his name or his story. Enough to finally have the peace he'd sought for 2 decades. The quiet retirement he'd been chasing across territories, but peace, he was learning, was not something you could buy with gold or achieve through running away. That evening, as Dustfall celebrated with drinking and music and relief, as the saloon overflowed with grateful townspeople buying rounds and sharing stories, Black Wind sat alone in his small house, cleaning his weapons methodically, preparing for what came next. The celebration felt premature to him, felt like ignoring the storm gathering on the horizon. Luke found him there, saw the old warrior checking ammunition, sharpening knives, preparing for battle, and knew immediately what he was planning. "When do we leave?" Luke asked simply, "Tomorrow before dawn." "But you are not coming. This time you truly stay behind. We already had this argument." "I'm coming. I've proven myself worthy. I've earned the right to stand beside you. No, what I am about to do is not rescue mission with chance of success. This is assassination, pure and simple. This is walking into Fortress specifically to kill one man, knowing I will probably die doing it. I am old, have lived 81 years, seen enough. You are young, barely begun your journey. You have life ahead, have future, have potential. You stay here safe, alive. Why go at all? Isabella is safe with her father. Castellana paid you in full. Mission is complete. Why throw your life away on this?" Black Wind set down the rifle he'd been cleaning, looked at Luke with tired eyes that had seen too much violence, carried too many memories of the dead. Because Blackthorn will not accept this loss. His pride, his reputation, everything he's built over decades requires that he respond with overwhelming force. He will come to Dustfall, will bring his entire army of 60 men, will burn this town to ground to make example that no one defies him. And it will be my fault because I came here, because I revealed myself, because I couldn't stay hidden and peaceful. So I must fix what I broke. Must remove the threat before it arrives. Must kill Blackthorn before he kills innocent people. Then let me help. 2 of us have better chance than 1. We fought together, survived together before. No, 2 of us means 2 deaths instead of 1. Means you die before your life truly begins. Means your mother loses her son. Means all the potential you have, all the good you could do in this world, all the people you could help and protect, all of it ends in Blackthorn's ranch for nothing. I go alone. That is final decision. Do not argue further with me. Luke wanted to protest, wanted to fight this decision with every argument he could muster, but he saw the absolute resolution in Black Wind's weathered face. The old warrior had made his choice, had accepted his fate, had already died in his mind, and was simply walking through the remaining motions. There would be no changing this, no swaying him with logic or emotion or appeals to reason. Then at least tell me your plan. Let me know the strategy so if you don't return, I can tell people you didn't die foolishly, that you had real plan. Black Wind nodded, accepting this small compromise. Secret entrance, tunnel used for smuggling contraband, opens into basement of main house. Tracker told me about it before he died in Canyon. Blackthorn drinks alone in his study every night from 10 until midnight. Consistent routine born of paranoia and loneliness. I enter through tunnel at 11 when he's deep in his cups and guards are tired from long day. Move through basement quietly, upstairs carefully, into study silently. Kill Blackthorn quickly and cleanly. Exit same way before anyone discovers body. If lucky, no one knows until morning. If unlucky, I fight my way out and die trying. That's not really a plan. That's suicide with extra steps and prayers. One mistake, one sound, one guard in wrong place at wrong time, and you're dead. Perhaps true. But his only way that might work. Direct assault fails against 60 professional guns. Waiting means dustfall burns, innocent people die screaming. This is only option that might save this town. So I take it, whatever the personal cost. They sat in silence for a long while, both contemplating the morning, the farewell that neither wanted to speak aloud, but both knew was coming. The weight of parting hung heavy between them, unspoken, but deeply felt. Finally Luke stood, struggling with emotion he couldn't quite control. These past weeks, learning from you, watching you fight and teach, understanding what real strength means, what true warrior spirit looks like, it's changed me fundamentally. Made me better man than I was. Made me understand that power exists to protect the weak, not dominate them. That violence is last resort, not first response. That true warrior is one who chooses not to fight whenever possible. You've given me something invaluable, something I'll carry forever. Given me purpose, direction, meaning I never had before. Thank you, Hasty and Black Wind. Thank you for everything. Black Wind stood, embraced Luke briefly, awkwardly, unused to such gestures after decades of solitude and isolation. You have warrior spirit in your bones. Have good heart and strong conscience in equal measure. Have courage tempered with wisdom, rare combination. You will do great things, Luke Henderson. Will protect people, will stop evil, will make real difference in this world. I am proud to have known you. Proud to have taught you. Proud to call you brother. Luke left quickly before emotion could overwhelm him completely, before he could break his promise and beg Black Wind to reconsider. The old warrior watched him go, feeling something close to fatherly affection. Wishing desperately he could see what Luke would become, what he would accomplish. That night, Black Wind made his final preparations with methodical care, born of long experience. Wrote a simple will leaving his small possessions to Luke, his remaining savings to be distributed among Dustfall's widows and orphans who needed help. Wrote letter to Eli the bartender, thanking him for friendship and asking him to tell his story truthfully, without embellishment or romance. The reality was enough. He packed light, weapons and basic supplies, nothing more. He would travel fast, strike hard, either return victorious or not at all. At 3 a.m, he rose, dressed in dark clothes that would blend with shadows, gathered his weapons with practiced efficiency. He walked through Dustfall one last time, this town that had briefly been home, that had reminded him what community felt like after decades alone. He paused at the saloon where it all began, where Crusher Maddox had smashed a bottle over his head and set this entire chain in motion. He mounted his horse, rode north into the darkness, toward Blackthorn's ranch, toward destiny or death. The desert was silent except for wind and steady hoofbeats. Stars blazed overhead, eternal and indifferent. Black Wind rode without fear, without regret. By noon, he was within sight of Blackthorn's ranch. He concealed himself in the mesa, watching patrol patterns, noting changes, waiting patiently for nightfall. The ranch was on high alert, double guards at every position, extra men patrolling. They expected retaliation, expected army, not one old man. As darkness fell, Black Wind moved with purpose. He circled wide, approaching from the south where terrain was roughest. He found the hidden ravine, followed it to the concealed opening. The smuggler's tunnel, he descended into darkness, moving by feel, counting steps precisely. 50 paces forward, turn left, 30 more, stone stairs leading upward. He climbed carefully, emerged into a basement storage room filled with contraband. He paused, listened intently. Footsteps above, muffled voices. He drew his knife, left guns holstered. Silence was survival. He eased the door open, peered into hallway, saw no one. Moved toward stairs. A guard appeared suddenly, descending stairs, casual and unsuspecting. Black Wind's knife struck before the man could cry out. Precise thrust between ribs into heart, hand over mouth muffling sound. The guard died silently. Black Wind lowered the body gently. He climbed to main floor, emerged into hallway. Voices from dining room, laughter and conversation. To his right, a closed door with light underneath. The study, Black Wind approached carefully, tested the handle. Unlocked. He turned it slowly, pushed door open, revolver in hand. Silas Blackthorne sat behind massive desk, whiskey in hand, studying papers. He looked up as door opened, expression changing to shock. "You," Blackthorne breathed. "The old Navajo. You came back. Walked right into my home. Are you insane? I came to end this. Came to make sure you never threatened Dustfall, never hurt another innocent." Blackthorne laughed harshly. "Kill me? Here? With 60 of my men surrounding us?" His hand moved toward bell on desk. Black Wind fired once, destroying it. Blackthorne froze. "Reach for anything else, I kill you. Call for help, I kill you. Move wrong, I kill you. Sit still. You stole my property, killed my men, humiliated me. Isabella was not property. Was innocent woman you kidnapped. Men who died chose to serve evil. You are not victim. You are monster, monster. I'm businessman. I built something real. The strong survive. That's nature's law. No, that is excuse to justify cruelty. True strength is restraint. You are just vicious, just evil." Blackthorne's face twisted with fury. "You lecture me? You've killed dozens. We're the same. No, I kill to protect. You kill to profit. I kill reluctantly. You kill eagerly. We are opposite, then do it. Pull the trigger." Black Wind's finger tightened. One shot, mission complete. But something stopped him. Understanding that killing solved nothing long term. "No," Black Wind said slowly. "I give you choice. Leave this territory tonight. Take nothing but your life. Disappear forever. Do this, you live. Stay, and I come back tomorrow night. And next night. I will haunt you. Will destroy everything you built. Your choice." Blackthorne stared, calculating. Could this old man really do what he threatened? Here they were, defying reason. "I leave what happens to my ranch. Your men divide it. I do not care. I only care you leave. Choose now." Long silence. Finally survival won. "Fine, I leave. Tonight. Stand, call your foreman. Tell him you're leaving on urgent business. Do not warn him. Do it wrong, I kill you." Blackthorne obeyed, called foreman, gave instructions. The foreman accepted, left, "Now pack one bag." 10 minutes, Blackthorne packed quickly, hands shaking. When ready, they moved through house together. No one suspected anything wrong. They reached stables. Blackthorne saddled horse, mounted. Black Wind stood in shadows. "Ride west. Do not stop near here. Disappear completely. If I ever hear your name again, I will find you. I will kill you. Now go." Blackthorne rode out, pride wounded but alive. Black Wind watched him disappear, then exited through the tunnel. He had done the impossible. Had confronted the tyrant, achieved his mission without firing a shot in anger. He rode back toward Dustfall as dawn broke, exhausted but alive. Dustfall erupted in celebration when he arrived. Luke found him at his house. "You did it. You're alive. Mission complete. Blackthorne is gone. Town is safe. What now? You leave again?" Black Wind was silent for a long time. Finally he spoke. "No, I stay. I am tired of running. I am Hastian Black Wind. I am Navajo warrior. This is my story. I will not hide anymore. I will stay in Dustfall. Will teach Luke and others who want to learn. We'll try to simply live instead of merely survive." Luke smiled with genuine joy. "The town will be glad." The years that followed proved Black Wind's decision wise. Challenges came, young gunfighters seeking reputation, troubled towns requesting help, problems large and small. But Black Wind faced them all with wisdom of age and skill of lifetime warrior. Luke became his student, then partner, then equal. Together they protected Dustfall and surrounding territory. Black Wind lived to be 93 years old, training warriors, protecting innocents, sharing wisdom earned through decades. When death finally came, it came peacefully in his sleep, surrounded by friends who had become family. Luke was there, holding the old warrior's hand as he breathed his last. They buried him in hills above Dustfall with full honors. The entire territory came to pay respects. Luke gave eulogy before hundreds. "Hastian Black Wind was greatest warrior I ever knew. But what made him great was not his skill at killing. Was his reluctance to kill. Was his wisdom to know when violence was necessary and when it was not. He taught me that true strength is choosing peace when you have power for war. That true courage is facing fear and acting anyway." He was warrior, teacher, friend, father figure. He was legend who became real, who showed us what we could be. The grave marker was simple, carved by Luke's hands. Hastian Black Wind, Navajo warrior, 1802 to 1895. He chose peace but prepared for war. He protected the innocent and taught the willing. He lived with honor and died with peace and on quiet nights. When wind blows through Dustfall Canyon carrying desert scents and memories, old-timers swear you can still hear him, the ghost of Black Wind, watching over the town he chose to protect, teaching lessons to those wise enough to listen, reminding everyone that true strength is measured not in kills or victories, but in wisdom, in restraint, in courage to do what is right. The legend ended, but the lessons lived forever.
Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.